Right, let's see my group for this year.
Good luck.
Oh man, can you believe that? I get the group of death again.
Can you believe that guy's group? There's nobody in it. I mean, who's she?
So every year when the groups are announced for World's Strongest Man, online we see the same old arguments of that's the group of death, that group's too easy, why is there no finalists from previous years in that group? So we've had the announcement of the 25 men that will be competing at the World's Strongest Man 2021, and Auntie Liz and myself thought we'd help the World's Strongest Man organisers out by coming up with our own groups.
So first off, let's have a quick reminder of the 25 athletes competing at this year's World's Strongest Man.
So seeding groups is actually quite a tough job to do. It's not the easiest job in the world to come up with the groups for World's Strongest Man. So the way we've looked at it is to try and firstly seed the top 5 and then essentially the top 10. So we spread them out over the 5 different groups. Now obviously 2020 was a slim year for competitions. There wasn't a huge amount to choose from. So essentially we're going to take the top 5 from last year's competition. So we're starting off with Alexei Novikov as our number 1 seed. Tom Stoltman is our number 2 seed. Number 3 seed would be JF Karan. Number 4 is Jerry Pritchett. And number 5 was Brian Shaw. So a good solid 5 athletes that you do not want in the same group. Then you've got to look at the next 5 guys. And we have gone, actually, for our top 10, we've gone with the top 10 from World's Strongest Man last year.
So the way that we've organised them though, so we've taken first place from last year, in the same group as 10th place, then second with 9th, third with 8th, because we think that's the fairest way to spread out the finalists, don't we?
Yeah.
Gives it that
Also,
balance.
it guarantees then that you've got at least 2 guys that have been in a World's Strongest Man final in each group. Now, I've seen groups before that haven't got any World's Strongest Man finalists in, and then you've got another group that might have 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So we're trying to spread things out as evenly as possible.
After we've got our first 2 in each group, then we need to start looking for seeds that weren't necessarily at the finals last year. So who are the standout guys that weren't in the final? Because you want to balance those groups out, don't you?
Now you're looking for the 3rd seed in the group, who essentially you want to be battling for a place in the final. You know, these top 3 on paper should be your sort of 3 that are going to battle for the final. That's not always the case, and obviously events can really change everything up. But you want to make sure you've got at least 3 guys that you think will be battling for that top 2 positions. So we've gone with guys like Evan Singleton. Evan had a great year last year. He won, was it the year before actually? He won the Giants Live North America.
Yeah.
And last year at World's Strongest Man, Evan was cruising into the final. He was looking in great shape. Unfortunately got injured, had to pull out. So he didn't make the final. We didn't put him in those top 10, but you need someone like Evan as the next guy along. We've also got a returning athlete like Constantine Janasha. Now, Constantine's pedigree at World's Strongest Man is very good. I think he's made the final every time he's been.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he has.
Put me on the spot
I might be
now.
wrong, but I'm pretty sure he has. And he's been 4th before, and he's just won an international show this weekend just gone. So we know he's in great shape. And coming into World's Strongest Man, he looks to be peaking. I think he's the type of guy you need to have as a threat in any group.
So then we looked at Luke Stoltman. Obviously, Luke didn't have the best group or set of events for him last year, but we know Luke is a great athlete. He did really well at Wurst Bahrain just a month ago. So Luke is a really strong contender, I think, to do very well in the final and certainly make the final. So we've placed Luke as our 3rd place seed, if you like, in one of the groups. Another thing we have to consider as well is balance in the groups, because you don't want a group that's full of Americans or full of Brits, which is kind of hard when there's 8 of each.
Yeah, something we try to do is separate the Americans and the British guys from each other. Obviously there's going to be some overlap,
so much,
but you need to have an American in every group and a British guy in every group. And a lot of that is to do with TV as well, because these shows or the groups are going to be broadcast to mainly English-speaking languages. They need a British and American athlete in each group to portray the story to the people that will be watching on the TV shows. So the last three seeds, if you like, in each of the group will be Bobby Thompson, who is just getting better and better. Actually, just in a few weeks, he's going for the American log lift record. Static strength looking very, very good and improving rapidly fast all the time. And then we've got Trey Mitchell. Trey has just won Texas Strongest Man. Trey is a World's Strongest Man finalist previously. Didn't quite make the final last year, but a threat in any contest. So with 10 athletes left to separate over 5 groups, this is where it gets a lot trickier. The last 10 guys are still 10 incredible strongmen, all capable of doing very well, particularly if they get the right set of events. And at the moment, we're doing this prediction, if you like, without knowing the events that the guys will be doing.
It's not a prediction, because this is absolutely not how the groups will go.
But you never know, they might listen.
Yeah, we've done the job for you. Everyone can blame us.
But it's one of those situations where, again, you've got to make sure there's not too many Americans and British guys in each group, and you've got to try and make sure each group is balanced with, awesome guys.
Yeah.
You can't make, you can't have the top 5 guys in one group. That's the way World Strong.
Lunacy.
If you're going to do the group stages, you have to have some kind of seeding. These next 10 guys, I would say, are the unseeded guys. That's not saying they're not good. So anyone watching,
who is one of these 10?
That is not the case at all. I've been in this situation myself many times where you're not going there as the seed and you can surprise people and do well. But we've gone through the group. So group 1, we've added returning Travis Ortmire, who is a real dark horse. Now, Travis has some events he can be exceptionally good at. He's, on the comeback. Is he capable of getting back to his brilliant best of a few years back? That's the question we all want to see. And then we've also put the rising star, Gavin Biltong, in. Gavin is actually the biggest man that's ever competed at World's Strongest Man. He's getting stronger and stronger every time we see him. He's still fairly green within the sport. He's improving all the time. I know he's training hard, and he's one of those guys that the seeds won't want in their group. He's going to be a big guy that's capable of some impressive performances, and if he gets the right set of events, could be a real danger as well.
So we finished off group 2 by adding Mikhail Shiblikov and Chris van der Linde from South Africa, who's a first timer at World's Strongest Man. We all know Mikhail, God bless him, and we all love him. Mikhail doesn't have the best track record at World's Strongest Man, thanks to injury and sometimes just bad luck. It's just not the best competition for him. But that said, last year he was, he probably should have qualified, and had it not been for the stupid last stone event, he might have, but we won't go into that.
And he's the kind of guy, you never know what kind of Mikhail will turn up, so he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
You never want him in your group because you know what he's capable of, but sometimes he just turns up in shape, sometimes he doesn't, so he's a real hard one to predict.
Yeah, he is, but that's kind of the reason we love him so much.
So our last 2 men for group 3, we've looked at Ethel Engleson, who, again, first timer last year at World's Strongest Man. He's got that experience. He performed really well at the World Ultimate Strongman in Bahrain. Vastly improved, I thought, from last year. And then Terry Hollands. Terry performed very well at World's Strongest Man last year. He's not had the best performances in some shows over the last year, but when it counts, Terry is best at World's Strongest Man. He seems to prefer the slower, longer paced competitions, and he always brings his best to Worlds. So I think we'll see the same from Terry again this year. I think when it gets to World's Strongest Man, he'll be in his best shape.
I think, based on the last couple of years that he's been there, I think Terry would be quite happy with that group, to be honest. Terry's had some particularly tough groups.
World's Strongest Man is always tough. Last year his group was really tough and he performed really well.
Yeah, he did.
And I'll tell you now, whenever I've had the group sent to me, you will look at them on paper and people will sit there saying that group's really tough, that group's easy. It never works out like that.
No, it doesn't.
Sometimes the toughest group on paper will just fall apart, and what you might think is an easier group will end up being a really tough battle. So that's a great thing with sport as well.
Yeah,
you never know exactly what's going to happen, but we've enjoyed putting this together.
Yeah, we have.
Group number 4, our last 2 guys. We've got Johnny Hanson, who's last year's Sweden's Strongest Man. I think this is his 3rd World's Strongest Man appearance.
Yeah, he's been to a few.
He missed out last year.
The last time he did it was 2018, I think.
So Johnny's again, a vastly improved athlete. He deserves his shot here. And then we put Robert Oberst into this group as well. Robert, again, he in my opinion, goes into that Terry Hollands group of, with the right set of events, in shape, he's a good athlete. He's not performed well enough, in my opinion, over the last 2 years in shows to warrant being a seed.
No.
You can't give him that positioning, but, you know, he's got a phenomenal grip. He's great at the log. If he gets the right set of events, he's going to be dangerous.
So in group number 5, we first put in Maxime Boudreau. So Maxime, again, he's one of those upcomers, isn't he? He's probably, on this stage, certainly, he hasn't had the opportunity to really show everyone what he's made of. But hardcore strongman fans will know exactly what he's made of. Tough guy to have in the group, I think, and would make it quite interesting. And then finally, God bless him, Mark Felix would go in that group as well.
And again, Mark is another one, and I hope he doesn't take offence to this. He's not had the best performances in most shows over the last 2 years. You know, he's someone with the right events, like a Hercules hold, for instance, that can beat absolutely anyone in the world. I don't expect to see Mark getting to the final, but with the right set of events,
he can certainly steal a lot of points in the meantime.
He can make things hard for a bunch of guys in the group and really, you know, get on people's nerves. And Mark, he's got that experience of being there. He's going to be laid back. He's not going to get stressed out by the situation.
So we've done this because we know this is kind of how it's done, and we've done it in a way that we think is really balanced and fair. But what would you think, as a former World's Strongest Man competitor yourself, of dart style names from a hat?
Well, so just all the guys
put them on a ball,
and then just pull out.
Yeah, you could be the person to pull them out.
I don't like that for World's Strongest Man.
No.
I think for some events it could be fun, but for World's Strongest Man I think you need to try and find the best guys in the world. And you've got the risk there if you could have Brian Shaw, Tom Stoltman, Alexei Novikov and, you know, JF Karan all in the same group.
Could kind of ruin it.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlikely, but it's possible.
It's very possible.
That shouldn't be the case in a group stage. You know, you should be trying to get the best guys to the final. I think the way we've done it, you've got 10, you know, you've got 2 finalists from last year in each group, and the third guy, if you like, in each group is a real threat, with potential threats from 4th and 5th as well.
Yeah.
You know, there's no easy group there.
No.
I think every single group is going to be a battle.
Yeah.
You're going to have to work hard. The real question then, after kind of putting the groups like this together, is then what events are thrown in.
What if the group, if the events were pulled from a hat?
You still need to have different type of events.
Okay, so you've got 10 hats or 5 hats, and you pull one from each. So a hat.
So you've got like overhead events.
Yes.
You've got I think that's a fair way of doing it.
I'm sure there are plenty of logistical reasons why they can't do that because they don't have unlimited kits. But wouldn't that be fun?
That would be quite fun, actually. And then, like, if fans could actually sit and watch it.
Yes.
So that
live
you know,
stream
there's no oh, he's only got those events because he's mates with someone. That, you know, is not the case. But if you can see that, right, they've picked log out of a hat for the overhead for this group.
Yeah.
You know, no one can say anything there.
No, and that's what I'm always looking at, in the interest of fairness. I really want a hat.
You just want it all fair for these guys,
I do.
don't you? They don't need it fair.
Well, because you never had it fair. So guys, in the comments, let us know how you would divide the groups. How would you make sure the groups are fair? And also you take into consideration the logistical stuff, like having to have an American in each group or a British athlete in each group. I lost my voice.
Right guys, IMG, Colin, whoever's watching, we've done the groups for you, buddy.
You're welcome.
While you're here guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.